Okay guys, we're back. So where we left off is we just made our Excel sheet. We just formatted the header so that it looks like what they gave us in the test. Okay, and once again, here's how we changed the font. We did the merge cells right there. Everything we did was in the Home tab. We changed the background by selecting the paint bucket to make it black. Change the text color by the A and selecting a color there. And don't forget, we had to make it look exactly like this. So I had to squish up this row here so that it looks like that. And I had to make sure that this text was top aligned, and I sort of played with the row sizes to make it look exactly like it is on the test paper, okay? Now once again, that's 11 total marks. It's easy marks, but they're tricky marks. So just pay attention exactly to what you're doing, and you'll get those 11 easy marks. Okay, so let's go back to this, all right? Save the spreadsheet as the file name, J1832 with my name. Yep, I already did that, J1830 underscore Mr. HE, which is already in my name. All right, now let's go on. Take a screenshot showing cells A1 to F11 of your spreadsheet, including the row and column headings. So I did that, okay? I'm going to go to my evidence sheet, okay? I'm not going to go over screenshots because we already did that in class. But if you need some help how to crop it when I put it in here, just let me know, okay? And I'll give you a hand. So, yeah, this is the screenshot, evidence 1, screenshot showing that my evidence of how I created the header, and it looks just like they have on the test. It's just a little squished because it's a little elongated. The aspect ratio is a little off, but all the main elements are there for it, okay? Good. Let's move on then. Okay, so we did this. Okay, so now we got to do this. We've got to place our name in the right header, place the date, the automated field to display today's date in the left header, and then file path in the right footer. Okay, so let's go back to my Excel sheet. Minimize my evidence. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my Excel sheet, and I need some headers and footers. So I click on Insert. Okay, once again, it might look a little different for you guys in the menu, but we go to Insert, and then I go to Text. Okay, and you guys might have header and footer already in your menu, but regardless, Insert. On mine, I go to Text, and I go to Header and Footer. You'll find it there in the insert. Okay, so in the top right, I want my name. Top right, my name, date in the left header. Okay, so in the left header, okay, click on the left header. And up here, I've got all of these options. I've got page number, number of pages, current date, current time. So they ask for the current date. Okay. If they ask for automated date, you've got to select that. You can't just type in today's date. It's got to be this. Okay. Otherwise, you won't get the mark for that. And then in the bottom left, okay. So in the footer, okay, so I'm done with all my stuff in my footer. I click on Go to Footer, okay, and in the bottom, what did it say, bottom right or bottom left? In the right footer. So in the right footer, they ask for the file path, okay. So they usually ask for the file name or the file path, okay, file path and name. So let's click on file path, which will give me the path and the file name. Great. I'm going to save that to make sure I don't lose anything. Cool. Okay, or I could click on that to save everything. Now, a common question is, Mr. Aslan, I can't get out of this, all right? It's now in my header and footer view. I don't want to be in there, okay? Well, if I don't want to be in that, I can click on View and then click on Normal, and I'm back where I want to work. Okay, let's go back. So we did that. Okay, 3 easy marks. Okay, now I'm going to restrict the data. Okay, in cell B4, I'm going to restrict the data so it just says D or W. So don't forget how we do that. So B4 is my B, and that's 4. Okay, and I'm going to restrict the data so that it only inputs a D or W, as it says here. So to do that, I go to Data, and I go to Data Validation, okay? and it's going to be a list of values. It's going to be D or W, okay? So, and you can see here, if I click on the drop-down menu, I've got a whole list of values that I can restrict it to, whether it's whole number, decimal number, a list, a date, a time, text length. So in other words, if I put in anything other than these values, it'll give me some sort of error. Okay, so I want the list. Okay, so I click on list, and the source I want to be D. Then I hit a comma. I can put in a space. It doesn't read spaces, but I'm just putting in a space to make it easier for you guys to see. And W. Okay, once I hit OK, all right, I got this drop-down menu here, and I can select a D or a W. Okay, I'm going to select D. Okay, so it's got a value in there, so I see it and I know what it is that I've done. Okay, great. And then I want to take a screenshot of my method restricting the data. So what I want to take a screenshot of then for this is I need a screenshot of this. Okay, this box here. Okay, so I'll show you what that looks like. I put that in my evidence. There is my screenshot showing everybody, showing the guy who's marking or the woman who's marking that I did the validation correctly. Great. All right. So now we want to do this. Enter a formula in cell D9 to display daily if cell B4 contains D, or weekly if cell B4 contains W. So that's a big hint, right? Enter a formula. It says here, enter a formula if. Okay, so that is a big clue the test is giving me, which means that I need to put an if statement in cell D9. So I find D9, D9 is right there. And don't forget, all my formulas begin with equals, if, open bracket. My logical test is B4, okay? So if B4 equals D, then I will write, what does it say? I'll write daily. If not, I will write okay. All right, so let me go over what this if statement says, okay? So as we can see, okay, let me click on that so we see our little prompts here from Excel. So if B4, my logical test is B4 equals D. Okay, so if B4 equals D, that's my logical test, I will output the word daily. Otherwise, I will get weekly. Don't forget, if I just have a one if statement, if I have one if statement, I only have two choices. Two choices. Okay, in a simple if statement, I get two choices. So this is quite simple. If B4 has D in it, I will get daily. If it's there's a W in there, I'll get weekly. Okay, I could write a nested if statement if I wanted to make it a little bit more complicated, but this simple if statement will do the job. And if you did a nested if, that's great, but let's work with this now. Okay, let's test it out. Boom, good, so that works. That's all I need to do to show that it works. And you can see, right, if I click on D, okay, I get daily in there, and then if I click on, if I go back up here and I click the drop-down menu and I select W, boom, changes to weekly. Good, so that's another 4 marks that I've gained. Take a screenshot of your formula, okay, so yeah, I would boom, 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 take a screenshot of this, make sure that the examiner can see that, so I'll show you what that looks like. And there it is there. That's a screenshot of my formula showing that everything is cool. Okay. Okay, now, this one's a little tricky. It's 4 marks, all right? It says, evaluate in your own words the restrictions you placed in cell B4. Suggest how these restrictions could be improved. Improve these restrictions in your spreadsheet based on this evaluation and your suggestion. Okay, and that's 4 marks. So whenever they ask you to evaluate something, all right, you can mention the good and you can also mention the bad. All right, so if I look at this, if I go back here, what they're talking about is the data restriction that I put in cell B4. What's good about that is that I will only have, right, according to the test, I only have 2 choices, daily or weekly. Great, so that prevents errors from being inputted, okay? In other words, if somebody tries to type in a number, okay, they'll probably get some sort of error, okay? Now, let's look at what's wrong with this, though, okay? Or it's not what's wrong with it, but the weaknesses. So if I go back to data, okay, oops, sorry, I'm going to click out of there. Go back to data, and I click on, I've selected the cell that I put in the data validation, and I now look at this, okay? So ignore blank. No, I don't want to ignore blank. I always want something to be in this cell, okay? If something's not in this cell and somebody tries to fill this out, I want them to have some sort of error that says something like input must be D or W, okay? So let's put this, show input message when cell is selected. Yeah, I'll do that. And the input message should be something like input D or W, okay? Error alert? Yeah, absolutely. Let's give an error message. If they don't put in a D or W, put in something like you okay? Wonderful. Okay, and now, see, we can see here, it tells us to input D or W. Okay, if I try to input something else other than D or W, say you must put a D or W. Yes, retry. Great. That's great. Good. We did that. And in my evidence, it says simply type my evaluation no more than 100 words and take the screenshots. So yeah, I want to take screenshots of all that stuff that I did. And I'm going to put this on pause, and we'll come back to that, and I'll show you guys what I did. Okay, bye. Okay, guys, I'm back. So let's just go into my evidence. So this is what I did. I just wrote a little, it's less than 100 words blurb about how to improve the data validation. Okay, so I leave that up to you because I already spoke about it on this video. And also, sorry, in evidence 4, I should have some screenshots as well of that data validation. So let me go back and show you, just to remind you again, what I should have screenshots of. Boop, boop, doop, boop, boop, boop. Data validation. Okay, yeah, so I want a screenshot that I put in an error message here. Yep. That. An input message, yeah, I put that in. I did all that. Sorry, didn't show up here. Why not? Okay. I got rid of all my stuff. Oh, I know what I did. Sorry. I hit to remove. Let's go back to this. Nope. Sorry, it looks like I removed my data validation by mistake. Nope, there it is. Great. Okay, so that's that for the data validation. Okay, let's go on to this, and then we'll take a break. We'll do the simple, this one here, okay, but it's 5 points, okay? Enter a function in cell B9 to look up the name of the cabin, okay? So that is the clue that the test is giving, to look up the name of the cabin using the file J1832 cost.csv. I've changed that to cost.excel file, okay, and it's 5 points. So that is a simple lookup statement that I have to do, and it is 5 big points. So I think I have time to do it before moving on, so let's do that. In cell, where does it say? In cell B9, look up the name of the cabin, okay? Oops, let's make this a little bit smaller. So B9 is right here, okay? So look up the name of the cabin, okay? The cabin code is what? There's no cabin code here, okay? So actually, I'm going to put this on pause, and we'll go back and we'll do the VLOOKUP because I don't want to get rushed for this. So when we come back, we will do the VLOOKUP formula for cell B9. Okay.